Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. The topic for today is data sharing, connecting the office and the field with Propeller. So thank you so much for joining today. We have myself, if we haven't met before, I'm Gels, and I'm the marketing manager here at Propeller. And my guest speaker is Kat. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, I am Kat, and I'm a product manager at Propeller, focusing on the mobile experience and integrations.
Perfect. And Kat's been with us for about over 4 years now, which
Yep,
is a
4 years.
wealth of knowledge for us to cover all the data sharing bits and bolts that we're going to cover today. So for the agenda, we'll touch a little bit about why data sharing matters and then go through seamless data import and export options in Propeller, the integrations that we support, and some recommended workflows. And then we have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. So you're joining us on LinkedIn. Feel free throughout our presentation to drop any questions you have in the comments, and then we will address them in the Q&A session at the end. If for any reason that you need to drop off, your colleague couldn't make it, or you just really want to share or rewatch this, it is being recorded and it will be in your email inbox within 48 hours. So let's dig into the content. The problem, you probably feel it in your day-to-day roles, whether you're inside or in the office. Information is hard to share, but the information that you want to share, it's critical, from your elevations to your progress tracking to your design conformance. Are we on track? Are we not? It's so hard to get all on the same page, and this leads to inefficiencies and potential errors. And as you know, in your day-to-day lives, it's hard for teams that are split between the office and the field to make informed decisions in real time. Sometimes they're reactive, sometimes it's a little too late, and we just want to enable you to make proactive solutions. So how do you do that? You can do it with Propeller, surprise! Anyway, so I'm sure that you realized that when you joined here. We do have customers that have joined to learn a bit more about data sharing at Propeller, but we like to see ourselves as the single source of truth for survey data and mapping for teams wherever you are. So from the site to the field on, whether you're on a PC, on a laptop, or a mobile, and a tablet as well. So now that you know the solution, how can you visualize the data that you want to see day to day and share with your teams in Propeller? I'll pass it over to Kat to deep dive on some of the options.
Thanks, Gels. Yeah, so lots of different ways you can share this information. And really, we've got all these different ways because we want to be able to work in the way that you work. So you can share sitemaps. We've got lots of different formats. You can share your author photos, which we'll have a look at in a little bit. You can do a time-lapse video, and that's a really great way to show your stakeholders progress over time. So you can look at the various surveys from a particular angle and watch your progress. We've also got a mobile app, which means you can kind of do measurements on the fly when you're out on site. It's a great way to kind of share information and get a sense of the site, taking it with you rather than lugging a laptop out in the field. We've also got fly-through videos, and this is a great one for, we've seen customers share this when you've got anyone who's new and onboarding to a new project or to midway through a project as well. You can kind of select specific points throughout your site and it'll give you a fly-through tour of your site so you can kind of see how everything fits together. And we've also got Crew, which is a feature that we'll also go into a little bit later, but it's a really great one for kind of making sure you can get anyone having access on your site, just as simple as having a QR code and logging in straight away. So
Brilliant. Yes, thanks, Kat. So now that you know how to visualize all of this data, how do you share the data that's crucial for your informed decisions with your key stakeholders? So the first options, Kat?
Yeah, so all these different exports come when you process your data with Propeller. So you've got surfaces, and we've got a few different file formats for those. So you can see your terrain throughout the project. We've also got ortho photos, so you can see everything across the board in different file types and sizes as well, depending on your needs and what other software you use and want to visualize it in. Contours and point clouds as well. So really, we're making formats that help you kind of do what you want to do in the surface software that you use in your ecosystem.
Yeah, and I know, Kat, we were talking about this the other day. It's great to know all the different file types that we can import and export to, but can you share some examples with the audience of what softwares that people are exporting and importing into with these file types?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of people use Trimble Business Center, for instance, GIS software like QGIS, Global Mapper, ArcGIS Pro, for instance, Cloud Compare, and Civil 3D as well are just some of the examples of what our customers like to use.
Yeah, and I'm sure that resonates with our audience as well. Like, if there are some other softwares, if you're a customer or if you're not a customer, feel free to drop them in the comments, because we love learning and having feedback on what are the use cases or different softwares that you're exporting and importing this information to, so we can build a better propeller for everyone. So on top of building things, the other thing that we also have is PDF reports. So Kat, if you want to jump into that.
Absolutely. So PDF reports are great because it's a format that I think anyone on a project can use, whether that's, viewing it in on your computer digitally, or whether it's a piece of paper. We all know there are some people who just prefer a hard copy. And so being able to kind of consolidate your information into a nice report. You have an example of a takeoff map, but you can also see, stockpile and measurement reports with your tonnage information. You can input materials and costs and all of that sort of thing for the higher ups to kind of give them a sense of progress as well, which is really great.
Yeah, and I think like the big thing with like PDF reports is that like it's supported in the way that your business functions. So obviously we've got the digital versions that are in Propeller, but also the PDF is a PDF. So if you want to share that digitally, or if it ends up as a piece of paper that's on someone's desk, but that's the way they like to consume information, we support it. So I think that's awesome. Talking about supporting the way that you work, we know that Propeller is not the only software that's in your tech stack, and there's a lot of other crucial softwares that play to like your project management of your sites and all the different projects that you work on. So Kat, if of course, as the integrations project manager, if you wanted to deep dive on some of our integration options that we support.
Yeah, of course. So because we deal with quite big files with all of this data, we like to have direct integration. So we've got Procore, BIM 360, Aconex, and OneDrive and Autodesk Build at the moment, looking to do SharePoint as well as Next on the list. And so this just saves you time being able to just push something directly to that software rather than waiting for the download and re-uploading. So some customers, for instance, have compliance requirements to store data in multiple places. So they'll kind of set up a OneDrive integration, and they'll store all their data there as well. So we really just want to make that as easy as possible and not hold your data hostage. We want to make that really easy for you to use anywhere.
Yes, definitely, like having a backup of the data where you need it is so important for everybody's different systems that they work with. And then next, playing on integrations, a specific thing that we support is WMTS. Kat, if you want to jump into that.
Yeah, so an even faster way to get your access to your data is to stream it using WMTS. And so at the moment we support it in GIS software, so you can stream the latest survey and use it as a base map in your software, so that it's always as accurate as possible, and you can kind of use it in, as the base for everything that you do. But really keen to understand, particularly if you're an existing customer or a new customer, if having this in CAD software might be something that you're interested in. It's great to kind of get feedback and understand where it might be useful.
Yeah, and I know, Kat, I know that you mentioned it earlier, but it could just to reiterate specifically for WMTS, the types of software, GIS softwares that we talk to.
Yeah, so QGIS, ArcGIS, they're the main ones that we've got.
Yeah, and so if you're on the call in the audience, if there's other GIS softwares where you're like, please, we would love WMTS to talk to, please drop it in the comments and give us feedback, because we'd love to learn more. Speaking on learning more, you can learn on any device, which is what Propeller supports you. And in this instance, it's not being just stuck on a laptop or to your PC in the office. To support that collaboration with the field, we also have a mobile app. Kat?
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. One thing we've heard is when people join a project, they're given the option of a a tablet or a laptop. And so, the mobile app is something that also works on tablet as well as mobile. But we're spinning up a team to really support this even more at the moment, which is really exciting. So basically, it's a way for you to kind of be on site and answer questions when you're on the fly. You can do measurements. You can, in this case, you can see an IFC file was uploaded with services, so you can kind of see a cross section in the field with your, underground utilities and kind of see exactly where they are with relation to where you are at the exact same time on the map. You can also upload and pin photos and 360 images on the map, which we thought would be used mostly for communication because you can comment on these photos, but we now like to call it our cover your ass feature because it's really used for people to kind of take photos of work that they're doing along the way and, prove that they've done the right thing, so that if issues are caught, it's really clear kind of at what stage something might have gone wrong. If we've had something laid, services laid before concrete's poured, for instance, it's really great to kind of show that that's exactly lining up with your designs before that's poured and, being able to identify problems. So that's a really great one. And so really excited to kind of focus more on this and kind of, help get more information out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I know when I speak to customers, especially specifically on the photos and the media feature, and this might resonate with you, that if you're not using the Propeller mobile app, you have your phone, you take photos of site, of like things that need to move, things that need to be fixed, or any hazardous things, and you text it to someone or you email it to someone, and then you never see it again. And then exactly how Kat said, for like that cover your ass feature, something is like, hey, where was this? Who was there on site? Was this mitigated? And you have to fill through emails, which probably the subject line didn't even indicate what to look for. And I think the great thing about the media feature is that it actually geotags your location. So you not just have the photo, because if you were to send the photo via text or via email, you wouldn't know the exact coordinates of where you want it to be. But in your mobile app, you could be, oh, it's here on site, and I can see my location in respect to that photo, walk to it, and mitigate it, which is great. Kat, do you have any other anecdotes or mobile use cases that you've seen when you've spoken to customers?
Yeah, I do. And you just reminded me too that, one of the nice things about this is you can take photos straight in the app. So they're already geolocated, or you can upload them later, but it kind of saves them, particularly when you've got these massive sites and earthworks happening, to identify where something happened. And you've kind of got that historical visual over time, whether that's sharing information with someone in the office or just sharing it with yourself for later if you want to remember if something was that a like topsoil stockpile, or was it something else? Was it clay? Because it's harder to identify in the office. But yeah, I heard a story the other day, which was really interesting. Superintendent was trying to figure out the slope of a hill in a particularly remote, environmentally sensitive area, because they needed to get some concrete up this massive hill, but it was a 2-hour drive to get out there either way. So he needed to know exactly what that slope was going to be, so he could work with the cement contractor to figure out what was the most amount of cement they could get into the trucks so that it was both safe and not going to spill and all of that sort of thing, but not wasting time with that really long drive. And so being able to empower your users with information like that is really, really exciting, because it's a lot of these little issues and optimizations that you can kind of tweak and do no matter, who you are across the site. We've had users as well, customers tell us they've started sharing it more and more with stakeholders, with clients, environmental teams as well, to kind of demonstrate, that they're doing the right thing along the way and kind of making it transparent as possible. But you can also, decide who gets what information as well. So really, it's a choice of how you work. How much you want to empower people with data versus how much you kind of want to keep private. But yeah, it's a really great way to, really exciting to see, I think, people being able to leverage that information in ways that we've heard, productivity just skyrocketing. People saying, I wish you'd had this app earlier, because, I've now got 70% of people on my site using this thing. And that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, and like jumping on that empowering notion, I think like a lot of crews experience maybe like a bottleneck. It might be with the survey manager, it might be the project manager, like it's just a bottleneck of information. And it's awesome that you have a go-to person that has just this wealth of knowledge of all the things. But sometimes that person needs to do other things besides share information. And so if you've got the ability with software that's compatible with mobile that can share that information to anyone from the office to the field, then everybody's getting their answers faster, and
Mhm.
you can take action faster as well. So
Absolutely.
Kat also, yeah, definitely. And I think like Kat also mentioned, like depending on how your workflow works, so maybe a mobile app where you have a login, it's on the phone and all that stuff, where that works for your workflow, or maybe you need a more open, just want to get to the information faster. So that leads to our next feature, which I'll invite Kat to talk a bit more, which is Crew.
Yeah, so this one is kind of taking things to the next level. So I'm sure everyone can imagine some people that they work with who, well, me myself actually, don't like creating and memorizing new passwords and downloading new apps and all of that sort of thing. It's got to really be valuable. But if you've got, contractors out for the day, or you've got particular people who just they're not going to be downloading, remembering passwords, we've got this feature, which is Crew. So you can actually scan this QR code now on your phones and have a look around. You can see we've got a site here with some designs. There's a section just down the bottom there that's highlighted in red, which is a measurement. So you can just click on that and get a cut fill of that particular area. And so this is something that you can have up on your site next to your safety induction, QR codes if that's how you work. And these links are specifically curated, so you can kind of decide exactly which measurements or designs you want people to kind of see. They also expire, so you can set them. One customer, for instance, has them kind of expiring every 2 weeks so that she can go in and make sure all of the services are correct and updated. And it's set to the same QR codes just printed up on site, and anyone can kind of go any day and go and have a look, and it just opens up in your browser. And it's really, really easy to get that information out there.
Yeah, and then you'll also see on the screen that like besides also like printing out a QR code, you can also copy the link to clipboard. So if you wanted to email it or text it or whichever way you want to share that information so that people can just click and open it as well. That's super easy. And I've got it right here.
There you
So
are,
yeah,
see? And
so easy.
so
um,
easy. Actually, that just
yeah.
reminded me too. So when designing this particular feature, the brief was basically, look, it's got to be as easy as paper. Like if it's hard, if it's not is as easy or easier than paper, it's not going to be used by, people on site. Everyone. You're not going to get a lot of people, and so yeah, that was something we really, really focused on to make sure that that was as easy as paper.
Yeah, and I think like that's the biggest thing too. Like we know like yes, everybody's got like complex tech stacks and there's new technologies that are emerging all the time, but irrespective of whether it's technology or just change in general, change can be hard. So the more that we at Propeller can make every step easier to get that information to the people that need it, we are definitely invested in doing that. So yes, we've reached to the Q&A session. So don't be shy. Feel free to drop in the comment section any questions you have. Maybe there's an integration that you're looking to learn more about. Maybe you just want to share some feedback on some import or exports that you're using, but feel free to drop them in the comments so we can get to it. But just to kick it off, Kat, why don't we go through a day in the life of you as a product manager? I know that you are such a champion for the customer voice, and it's literally intertwined in your daily activities. So if you could share with us, like, what's a day in life as Kat as a product manager would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm always on the lookout for customers to talk to, and that's at all stages of the product life cycle. So that could be early and general in discovery. It's great to talk to people from different industries. I make sure I'm talking to people from different countries and time zones, because something that works in Australia might not necessarily translate to the US, for instance, or Europe. And so really kind of understanding how different size companies and kind of teams with different structures, like top down or more kind of flat structures kind of operate together is really important. And so, just having a chat in general about use cases is really great, but also one thing that's really important is making sure that we're using our engineering resources as wisely as possible. And so we like to do user testing as well when we've got just designs. So basically works kind of like a slideshow presentation, and we'll take different people through and kind of get a sense of what you're thinking as you're going through the different workflows, because something that might make sense to me sitting in the office isn't necessarily going to be how your workflows work. And so we really want to measure success in the same way that you would be trying to figure out if something's successful to help you do your job. And so the only way we can really do that is by doing these kinds of user testing sessions, which is really fun. And then we like to get out a smaller piece of work as possible and kind of test that. So we have beta testing as well, depending on the feature and how kind of complex or new it kind of is. If it's a no-brainer, of course, we like to get those out as quickly as possible. So a lot of conversations with customers. It's probably my favorite part of the role as well, actually.
Yeah. And I think like the great thing of what I love about like the product and engineering team is that we bring customers on from the discovery phase. We don't like to make assumptions because what they say, if you assume, I'm not going to finish it. And so we bring them on from the beginning, from the discovery, showing them the designs. Does this workflow, does this UI compatible? Is it easy to consume, work, use? And then when we start building, it's like, hey, be a beta tester and see and find some things that, hey, that didn't work, or this would have been better this way. And that's just like every stage. And then when it's released to customers, they're still reaching out to their CSEs, showing whether they loved it, jumping on support, or like saying, it would be great if this. And we definitely internally relay back that feedback to have some fast follows that could be some quick wins for our customers. So Kat, we do have a question from Sean. Thanks for jumping on, Sean. Do users need the app to open the shared links or the QR code? So I believe that's in reference to Crew.
No, that's the beauty of Crew is you can just scan the QR code and it'll open up in your phone straight away. It's kind of a level up. If you're someone who wants to download the app, you need a login to kind of get into Propeller. But the QR code, the Crew feature, no app, no passwords, no hassle.
Brilliant. Yeah. And so, that's definitely why like Crew was created, when you just want that quick information that doesn't have that hassle. So Sean, if you're a customer, try it out. But also, I can also have the QR code in the follow-up email. So if you didn't get a chance to earlier, you can scan it yourself and experience it, and you wouldn't have to have the app open. We also have a question from William. Thank you, William, for your question. We are using the DJI L2 for drone surveying. Nice choice. And the LES files generated are quite large. Currently, we deliver these files to clients via external hard drives. Do you have any suggestions for improving this process? And additionally, would using Propeller and OneDrive for file uploads and downloads cause any issues with time efficiency? Fully loaded question. Love that you're sharing your workflow, William, so that will help Kat answer the question better. So over to you, Kat.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a good one. So it really depends on quite a few factors with storage and transfers. So if it's going to be able to, if OneDrive can handle it, because they've got each different software has different limits of what it can handle as well. But if you're sending it to OneDrive and then from OneDrive you can kind of get it out, then I think that would save you time, even in the sense that you can kind of push it and then set and forget. You don't have to kind of sit and wait and then go back and then download it again. So hopefully that can optimize your workflow a bit more. But if you have any trouble with that, definitely let us know, and our customer success team can help you fasten that up.
Yeah, and I think like those are the things, like it's like photogrammetry, orthophotos, all these great things are so wonderful, though the files are quite large. And so, if everyone can be on a cloud-based platform that's not stuck on a PC that only one person can access to or share and crowd around, like you can have a link and be like, okay, I can see what's happening. I can create a measurement. I can see how my progress is tracking throughout. I think that's really good as well. Whereas but we also support playing with other software such as OneDrive. But yeah, definitely good call out from Kat on the storage limits. And I know definitely here internally at Propeller, we like to push the limits of the softwares that we use as we grow. So I'm sure that our customers are doing the same. And thank you, yes, for their questions. If we didn't get to your questions or it came to you after this LinkedIn Live and you're like, oh, shoot, I wish I asked Kat and Jels this, you can still comment on that thread after, but you can also reply to the email that we will send to you guys after with this recording. We'll share an article that deep dives more into the different options. And if there is any other things that you'd like to learn more from, oh, one extra question, another for William before we sign off. No, just another thanks. Thank you, Gregor. Yes. Yeah, William, in terms of Propeller charging for data storage and sharing, we can have someone reach out to you on that. It's different for the size, like what drone you're using, what's the size of your company, like what's the best workflow. So we can definitely chat to you on how to best support it. But thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Kat, for sharing your wisdom and all your learnings from customers. And I hope everybody has a great day. Bye for now.
That's great. And definitely feel free to reach out with questions. Always keen to hear more feedback and examples of how you might want to use, things like the mobile app, or, always love to get out on site as well. So if there's anyone who can who's willing to host us, would love to get out there and see how it can be used better as well, because that's something that's really important, is being able to test it in the field and make sure it works in reality.
Yeah, definitely. I do miss being out on site. It's been a while. My steel cut boots are too clean. So definitely need to get Kat and I out on site. Maybe we'll throw you a site barbecue if it's a good one. But yes, definitely reach. And it's been a great session with everyone. Thanks for joining. And thanks again, Kat.
Thanks so much, Jels. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.